you've worked with Premier, you've toured with Premier, you worked with Nonfiction. I'm assuming you probably toured with them too, right? Like no?
I did some dates with them, and because I was on the Beatnuts album in 2003, The Originators, and them and Nonfiction were on tour together, and I did the West Coast leg with them. So I saw some crazy shit on that tour. Nothing that they did, but I saw a wild ass fight in San Francisco with a guy trying to get Nonfiction's autograph, and he was drunk and wouldn't leave, and it was pretty fun. But yeah, man, I like for example, like Premiere. I had seen Premiere many times before that, just as a fan. I remember one time I was on a plane in like 2014. I was flying back and I had a connecting flight in Philly, and I was with my girl, and I was like, yo, that's DJ Premier sitting in like the, second row. And Preem was busy. He was working on something, but he waited for everybody to get off the plane before he got off. And I had walked by, and I'm like, I was nervous as shit, because I mean, there's certain people, not many people make me nervous, but I'm like, this is Premier. And I was like, Premier, you're dope. He was like, thanks. But then fast forward, I had the opportunity to meet him because he for a long time he was on Sirius doing Live from Headquarters, and which was such a dope show because he always, even at that point in his career, has his ear to the street. He's always listening to like what's next. You've had records get played on there, and I didn't know at the time that he ever played anything of mine, but I went up there in 2015 with Raz. Raz had a project out, which is a whole nother way I met Raz long before that. And I was just a quiet dude in the background. I just wanted to go up to the show because I'm like, it's fucking Premiere. So he thought, when I got up there, he thought I was this particular producer that produced Raz's this project. I can't even remember the name of this guy at this point, but so Preem's like, hey, you could sit in the chair. There's a mic right there. And I'm like, okay. And then somebody goes, hey, that's not blah, blah, blah. They're like, that's his name is Gant. And then Preem goes, oh, Gant, I play one of your songs. You got a song with Torre. It's dope. And I was like, wow. He goes, he's like, stay in that chair. And I was like, okay. So I rarely do I get nervous. Anyone that knows me, like I'm pretty good with that kind of stuff. But then they go back on air and he's like, yeah, we got Razkaz here. Also, we got Gant here. And I go, thank you. He goes, thank you. I didn't even thank me for what? So like him and I just had this friendly like banter back. And then at the end of the show, he's like, I'm going to play this Gant record since he's sitting here right now. So after the show, everybody's talking, and a lot of people were trying to impress him. And I get it. It's Premiere. So Premiere's like, what's everybody doing after this? And everyone's like, we're going to the, W Hotel, DJ, Sticky Hands is DJ, just throwing. And I don't do that kind of shit. I was like, oh no, my girl has a dive bar downtown, and I'm gonna go eat brisket. She makes good brisket. And he looks at me, he's like, what do you know about brisket? He's from Texas. I'm like, I know it's fucking good. And he's like, can I roll? And I was like, yeah, of course. So he goes, I'm driving. I'm like, okay. So now I'm sitting in the back of Preem's car, and I'm just like, this is crazy. I'm texting my girl, and I'm like, I don't care who's in this bar right now. Clear a fucking table, kick people out. I'm like, I'm coming there with Premiere. It was me, Premiere, and Raz, and like my manager at the time, Patrick, and maybe like one other person. So we end up sitting there, and we have the best night in the world. Him and I are just like, we just had a genuine ass connection. We weren't even talking about music, man. We were just talking about life. And I just think that we're very similar in a lot of ways. So I think he enjoyed that, because like we just had this we had this really good back and forth, and that's how we became friends. And after that, it was just like off to we talked every day. And I think that the difference with me and a lot of people is I never angled with him. I never asked him for shit. It's just like,
that's what's up.
I like his friendship means more to me than anything else. Anything that he's done for me, he's mentioned. He's like, hey, how about we do this? Or like, or like, hey, if you want to come on this tour. And because I think he's so used to people, I watch it. I watch people walk up to him and just like habitually step lines and like ask him outright for shit, and he's like, you got to talk to my manager. It's like I just never did that. And I just think that he appreciated that. And then we built a friendship.